Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to English with Aurora. I'm Aurora, and today I have something incredibly special for you. Have you ever been in that awkward moment when someone is speaking to you in English, and your mind just goes completely blank? You know what they're saying, but when it comes to responding, it's like your brain decides to take a vacation without telling you first. Well, let me tell you something that might surprise you. Even native English speakers have moments when they don't know what to say immediately. The difference is, they have a toolkit of phrases that buy them time, keep the conversation flowing, and make them sound confident even when they're thinking on their feet. And today, I'm going to share 30 of these magical phrases with you. But here's the thing, and this is what most English teachers won't tell you. These phrases aren't just filler words. They're conversation lifesavers. They're the difference between standing there like a deer in headlights and sounding like a fluent, confident English speaker. By the end of this video, you'll have 30 powerful tools that will transform those scary silent moments into opportunities to shine. So grab your notebook, because we're about to dive into something that will change your English conversations forever. Are you ready? Let's go. The power of buying time. First, let's talk about why these phrases are so incredibly important. When you're learning English, your brain is working overtime. You're translating, thinking about grammar, trying to find the right words, and all while someone is waiting for your response. It's like trying to solve a puzzle while someone is watching you with a stopwatch. Native speakers have developed these natural responses that give them precious seconds to organize their thoughts. It's like having a pause button that doesn't make the conversation awkward. Instead, it makes you sound more natural, more human, and more relatable. Let me share a quick story. Last month, I was at a coffee shop, and I overheard a conversation between a barista and a customer who was clearly not a native English speaker. The customer wanted to order something complicated, but when the barista asked about milk preferences, the customer just froze. Complete silence. The barista had to repeat the question 3 times, and you could see the customer getting more and more frustrated with themselves. Now imagine if that customer had known just one simple phrase. "Let me think for a second." Everything would have changed. The conversation would have flowed naturally, the customer would have felt confident, and that awkward silence would have transformed into a normal, human moment of consideration. Category 1. The classic time buyers. Let's start with the most essential phrases that every English learner needs to master. These are your bread and butter, your go-to responses when you need just a moment to collect your thoughts. Phrase 1. That's a good question. This phrase is pure gold. It acknowledges what the other person said, shows you're engaged, and gives you time to think. Plus, it makes the other person feel good about their question. It's a win-win situation. Asterisk phrase 2. Let me think about that for a moment. This is honest, straightforward, and completely acceptable in any situation. Whether you're in a job interview, talking to friends, or having a business meeting, this phrase shows thoughtfulness, not confusion. Phrase 3. That's interesting. This phrase does double duty. It shows you're processing the information, and it indicates genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Native speakers use this constantly, and it sounds completely natural. Phrase 4. You know what? This is a fantastic conversation starter when you're gathering your thoughts. It signals that you're about to share something meaningful, and it gives you those crucial extra seconds to organize your response. Phrase 5. Well, let me see. This phrase suggests you're actively thinking through the situation. It's perfect for questions that require you to recall information or consider different options. Here's a real-life example of how these work. Imagine you're at a job interview and the interviewer asks, "What's your greatest weakness?" Instead of panicking or giving the first answer that pops into your head, you could say, "That's a good question. Let me think about that for a moment." Then you have time to give a thoughtful, well-structured response. Category 2, the conversation connectors. Sometimes you don't just need time to think. You need to show that you're actively engaged in the conversation while you process what's being discussed. These phrases help you stay connected to the dialogue. Asterisk phrase 6, I see what you mean. This shows understanding and engagement. Even if you're still processing the full implications of what was said, this phrase keeps you in the conversation. Phrase 7, that makes sense. Similar to the previous phrase, but this one indicates that you've processed the information and found it logical or reasonable. Asterisk phrase 8, I hadn't thought of it that way. This phrase is brilliant because it shows openness to new ideas and perspectives. It also gives you time to consider this new angle. Phrase 9, tell me more about that. When you're not sure how to respond, sometimes the best strategy is to get the other person to elaborate. This phrase does exactly that while showing genuine interest. Phrase 10, can you give me an example? This is particularly useful in professional or academic settings. It shows you want to understand better and gives you more information to work with. Let me paint a picture for you. You're at a networking event and someone starts talking about a business concept you're not familiar with. Instead of nodding along pretending to understand, you could say, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. Can you give me an example? Suddenly, you're not just buying time, you're having a meaningful conversation and actually learning something new. Category 3, the emotional processors. Sometimes we need time not just to think about facts, but to process emotions or surprising information. These phrases are perfect for those moments. Phrase 11, wow, I wasn't expecting that. This is perfect when someone shares surprising news or information. It's honest and relatable. Asterisk phrase 12, that's quite a lot to take in. Use this when someone has shared complex or emotionally heavy information. It shows you're taking their words seriously. Phrase 13, I'm not sure how I feel about that yet. This phrase is wonderfully honest and shows emotional intelligence. It's perfectly acceptable to need time to process your feelings. Phrase 14, that's got me thinking. This indicates that what they've said has had an impact on you and started a thought process. Phrase 15, I need a moment to process that. This is direct and honest, and most people will respect your need for processing time. I remember a student of mine, Maria from Brazil, who used to panic whenever conversations took an emotional turn. She felt like she had to respond immediately to everything. But once she learned phrases like, wow, I wasn't expecting that, and that's quite a lot to take in, her confidence soared. She told me it felt like having emotional breathing room in conversations. Category 4, the clarifiers. Sometimes we don't know what to say because we're not entirely sure what the other person meant. These phrases help you clarify without admitting complete confusion. Phrase 16, just to make sure I understand. This is professional and thoughtful. It shows you want to get things right before responding. Phrase 17, what do you mean by? Direct and effective. Don't be afraid to ask for clarification. It shows intelligence, not ignorance. Phrase 18, could you clarify that for me? This is polite and professional, perfect for work situations or formal conversations. Phrase 19, I want to make sure we're on the same page. This phrase shows collaborative thinking and ensures clear communication. Phrase 20, help me understand. This phrase is humble and engaging. It invites the other person to explain further while showing your willingness to learn. Picture this scenario. You're in a meeting at work, and your boss mentions a project deadline using some technical jargon you're not familiar with. Instead of sitting there confused, you could say, just to make sure I understand, when you say specific term, what exactly does that involve? You've bought yourself time, shown engagement, and ensured you'll actually understand what's expected of you. Category 5. The opinion formers. Sometimes we need time to form or articulate our opinions. These phrases help you do that gracefully. Phrase 21. I'd have to think about that. This is honest and reasonable. Nobody expects you to have instant opinions on everything. Phrase 22. My initial reaction is. This allows you to share a preliminary thought while leaving room for your opinion to evolve. Phrase 23. Off the top of my head. This phrase signals that you're giving a quick, initial response and might have more to say after further thought. Phrase 24. I'm still forming my opinion on that. This shows thoughtfulness and indicates that the topic is complex enough to require consideration. Phrase 25. I can see both sides of that. Perfect when you're dealing with a controversial or complex topic and need time to articulate your nuanced view. Category 6. The advanced redirectors. These final 5 phrases are for those moments when you want to redirect the conversation while you gather your thoughts. They're particularly useful in more advanced social and professional situations. Phrase 26. That reminds me of something. This allows you to connect the current topic to something you're more comfortable discussing while you process the original point. Phrase 27. Speaking of which. Similar to the previous phrase, this creates a natural transition while giving you conversational control. Phrase 28. Actually, now that you mention it. This phrase suggests the other person has triggered a relevant thought or memory, giving you a natural way to contribute to the conversation. Phrase 29. That's an interesting perspective because. This acknowledges their viewpoint while setting up your own contribution to the discussion. Phrase 30. You've given me something to think about. This is a graceful way to acknowledge that you've received their input and need time to consider it fully. The art of natural delivery. Now, here's something crucial that many English learners miss. It's not just about knowing these phrases, it's about delivering them naturally. The tone of your voice, your body language, and the specific situation all matter. When you say, "That's a good question," your tone should convey genuine interest, not panic. When you say, "Let me think about that for a moment," you should sound thoughtful, not desperate. Practice these phrases until they feel natural, until they become automatic responses rather than emergency measures. I had a student named James from South Korea who initially delivered these phrases like he was reading from a script. We worked together on making them sound conversational and natural. The breakthrough moment came when he realized he wasn't just buying time, he was being human. Native speakers use these phrases not because they're stupid or slow, but because thoughtful communication takes time. Cultural context matters. Here's something interesting about these phrases. They're culturally appropriate in English-speaking contexts. In some cultures, immediate responses are expected, but in English-speaking countries, taking a moment to think is often seen as a sign of wisdom and consideration, not slowness. This cultural understanding can be liberating for English learners. You're not expected to have instant, perfect responses. You're expected to be thoughtful, engaged, and authentic. These 30 phrases help you achieve all 3. Building your confidence asterisk. Let's talk about confidence for a moment. Every time you successfully use one of these phrases in a real conversation, you're building what I call conversation confidence. It's the feeling that you can handle whatever comes up in English dialogue. Start with the phrases that feel most natural to you. Maybe "that's interesting" feels comfortable, or perhaps "let me think about that" fits your personality better. Master a few phrases first, then gradually add others to your toolkit. Remember, confidence in language learning comes from successful experiences. Every time you navigate a conversational moment smoothly using these phrases, you're proving to yourself that you can handle English conversations. You're building evidence that you're becoming a fluent speaker. Practice makes perfect. Here's your homework. And yes, I'm giving you homework because I want you to succeed. Choose 5 phrases from today's list that resonate with you. Write them down. Practice saying them out loud with different tones and in different imaginary situations. Then, and this is the important part, use them in real conversations this week. Start with low-stakes situations. Maybe practice with a friend who's also learning English, or use them when ordering coffee or during casual conversations. The magic happens when these phrases become automatic. When someone asks you a challenging question in English, instead of your mind going blank, one of these phrases will naturally come to you. That's when you'll know you've leveled up your English conversation skills. Your English journey. You know what I love most about teaching English? It's watching students transform from nervous speakers who freeze up in conversations to confident communicators who can handle any situation with grace and authenticity. These 30 phrases are more than just words. They're tools for connection. They're bridges that help you move from not knowing what to say to having meaningful conversations. They're the difference between feeling lost in English conversations and feeling like you belong. Every single person learning English has stood where you're standing right now. Every confident English speaker you admire has had moments of not knowing what to say. The difference is that successful language learners develop strategies, and today, I've given you 30 powerful strategies that will serve you for the rest of your English-speaking journey. Remember, language learning isn't about perfection. It's about communication. It's about connecting with people, sharing ideas, and building relationships. These phrases help you do all of that, even in moments when your mind needs a few extra seconds to catch up. So the next time you find yourself in an English conversation and you don't know what to say, remember that you're not stuck anymore. You have options. You have tools. You have these 30 phrases that will help you navigate any conversational challenge with confidence and grace. Your English journey is unique, and every conversation is an opportunity to practice, to learn, and to grow. Embrace those moments of uncertainty because they're not signs of failure. They're opportunities to use your new skills and become an even better communicator. Keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. Your English is getting better every single day, and with these 30 phrases in your toolkit, you're ready to handle whatever conversational challenges come your way. Until next time, keep speaking, keep growing, and remember that every great English speaker started exactly where you are right now. You've got this.